Bro, I am pissed. If you just so happen to follow XXXTentacion on Instagram and were on Instagram a few days ago, you would have noticed that suddenly he was going live on his Instagram account. But wait, he can't. After a celebrity dies, their Instagram becomes memorialized, as in nobody can post on it anymore. But for whatever reason, X's management and his mom, of all people, decided to go live on his Instagram and promote another artist's song. When I say I am pissed about that, it is not just me, it is the rest of X's cult-like following who followed him over the past few years before he had died and even till now. The amount of disrespect that X's mom has and has had over the past couple years toward X has been mind-boggling to me. Even though X was not the greatest guy in the beginning, especially leading up to him actually going into prison, during his last 6 months to year on Earth, he kind of started to rehabilitate himself and become a way better person. Between starting his own charity and helping potentially millions of kids across the world find some sense of belonging through his music, or at least get some sort of enjoyment out of what he was able to create. After his death, his management and his mom released 2 X albums, Skins and Bad Vibes Forever. And Members Only Volume 4 came after that as well, but I'm not really going to count that one in this. Just because, as you know, that was a collab album with everybody in Members Only, not an X-specific album. But regardless, X had 2 albums come out after he had passed, alongside plenty, and I mean plenty, of singles and him being featured in other artists' songs. Now, there's a chance that you might be on the side of like, oh, well, he had this music probably already done, he was already going to release it. And while I agree that parts of probably both of those albums were finished, a lot of it wasn't. In fact, parts of Bad Vibes Forever were just recordings of his voice on a phone. X didn't necessarily intend for those to end up being songs. But how did these albums end up getting released like they did? Well, that simply comes down to X's mom. There's been a lot of talk about her releasing those last 2 albums just as a way to do a quick money grab, as well as selling X merch to once again collect money. Between her and X's team kind of finishing up those 2 albums, as well as releasing merch, it really just ended up being a cash grab for X's mom. Now, I do understand the fact that she lost her son. Obviously, she's going to be distraught over that. And of course, I think that X's legacy should in some way pay for her to live. She needs to let her son rest. Unfortunately, his time has passed and we need to honor his legacy before it continues to get ruined. But unfortunately, she did not think that way. Like I had mentioned a few nights ago, she went live on Instagram promoting another artist's music. An artist who was not that well known. Now, there was talk about him knowing X and them kind of making the song together at one point, but the fact that this is happening more than 2 years after X's death has got his entire fan base and a large chunk of the rap community really irritated. And at least for me, this specific event is kind of what pushed over the line for me. As I had said a second ago, of course his mom is going to be distraught over her son dying. That is a traumatic event. But what her doing with this artist is really conveying is that she really doesn't care about her now dead son. This might not necessarily be her intention, but what she's conveying is that all she wants is to capitalize and just grab money left and right off of X's fan base. And the way that she's going about that is extremely disrespectful to X, which is why X's fan base is so mad about her doing this. What I would have loved to seen is for her to be like, hey, some of X's songs were unfinished. Here is an unfinished album by X. Here are all the songs he was planning on releasing and keep them unfinished. Because personally, I would have much rather preferred to listen to X's music unfinished than finished by somebody else, and to at least some extent being completely different than what X would have put out himself. Now, should X's mom be able to live off of what X was able to create? Possibly to some extent, maybe not now, but originally I would have said yes. Obviously, this isn't my money, so I don't really have necessarily a say in where I think it should go, but I would have much rather loved to see the money made off of all the streams, off of the merch, and whatever else X's mom was able to make after he passed. I would have loved to see that money instead donated to X's charity. Now, I'm sure some of it was, but we didn't really hear too much about that. Think about how much better X's legacy would have stayed in the minds of all of us if X's mom would have instead been like, hey, here is an unreleased, unfinished album. Here is some X merch for all of the fans of X. And what we're gonna do is all of this money, 100% of it, is going to get donated to X's charity. X's legacy would have been held at such a high standard, not only right now, but for the foreseeable future. And I am honestly really scared that X's mom just ruined X's legacy. Maybe not to the point where nobody's going to talk about X in the future, but it's to a point where all of his fans, including myself, have this little bit of a sour taste in our mouth now because of her. Now, I'm not saying that X's mom is a bad person by any means, just that she made some really bad calls regarding her son and his music. With all that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other future rap-related videos that I post. And if you're a rapper, producer, or just a fan of rap music in general, check out the link below and join my Discord server. I built that server to be a place for rappers, producers, and rap enthusiasts to all come together, learn from each other, and really to come and make friends with like-minded people. Now, once you've done all those things, make sure to click on the playlist that's popping up on screen, because if you enjoyed this video, I can pretty much guarantee that you'll enjoy some of my other videos. With all that said, have a great rest of your day, guys. Peace.